Hello everyone, welcome to Louis Van Amstel's podcast with still me, Louis Van Amstel. Now, what are we going to talk about right now? Actually, as I'm doing this, I'm going to talk about the struggling point early in my career, a moment of insecurity. You're questioning everything you've done so far. You make a decision and then you wonder if that decision was the right decision against all odds. The world turns against you, or at least that's how you feel. And then how you deal with that. So, for me, that moment was in 1992. I guess I am revealing how old I am, so maybe we should lean back a little bit. Anyway, so just to give you perspective and all the variables that contributed why I felt that was my most insecure moment, or the smallest you feel, I have to go back to 1989. In 1989, my international dance career pretty much started. Even though I was national champion, I was in youth, in growing up the ladder. I went through all the classes, bronze, silver, gold. I went through all of those, but then in 1989, I had my British dance partner, Julie Fryer. And looking back now, Julie and I had a phenomenal career. Great results, which of course we'll talk about. So Julie and I started dancing in 1989, and gosh, what a change that was for me to go from a Dutch partner that was serious to an international partner. Suddenly, it is a lot different, more hours. Everything became more serious. And at the time I was 17, very young. So we started and we got ready for our national championships, which was now 9 months in. Our first championship together, the national championships of Holland, the Netherlands, and 2.5, 3 weeks prior, our coach Louis Van Amstel made us go through this rigorous training. Yeah, he made us come in knowing that we were evening people. Dancers in general are not morning people. We love the evenings. I get it now as an adult looking back. We're more about the emotional self and the expressive self. Well, in the morning, the physical self and the mental self are a little more ready to work, not the emotional self. Well, at 7 a.m., Louis Van Amstel, our coach, made us come in and do rounds, meaning he plays that music and 5 dances in a row, full on, we had to perform. 7 a.m. in the morning. Of course, the first time we did that, we knew it was going to be a train wreck. Anyway, day 2, day 3, by day 4, I would say we were starting to get used to this, and we were starting to learn that the emotional self is a matter of 20 minutes warm up, and then you find that switch. As a performance, no matter what realm your career is in, there is a switch. And if you're willing to work hard, the mental, the physical, the emotional switch is literally a decision in your mind, and you can show up. Well, that's what we did. So we went to our national championships after 2 weeks of doing that. And we raced through that competition as if it was nothing. We were so prepared. And we were up against the current national champion who lived in England, did the whole English route, lived in the mecca of ballroom dance sport, London. And they were, of course, the champion, and we were the newbies. Well, guess who won? We did. All 5 dances, we won, and we contributed that to Ruud's rigorous idea of getting ready for a competition. So then we were now the official representatives of our country. Number one and the number two couple are representing your country at the European and World Championships. So fast forward, we are going to what we call the biggest competition in our industry, Blackpool, which is a city in England, and they have the famous Winter Garden. And what a beautiful ballroom that is. It's huge. So we did our first international competition and we made it to the top 24, which is, I mean, for me, coming from a small country, the year before I was in that same ballroom and I don't even think I made it to the last 125. So making it to the top 24 for me was a big win. My partner Julie, however, she was second in under 21. So there is a youth category under 21 years old, and she was second there. So for her, I never talked about it, but I think for her, that was an okay result. For me, amazing. Fast forward, early September, our first World Championships. And lo and behold, we made the final. Never has a new couple that quickly made the final, and we were also the youngest in the final. By that time, I was 18 years old and Julie was 19. So, wow, we were, I mean, gosh, what a thrill. Made the final. First year of dancing together. We pretty much did not miss any European final, no World Championship final in 1990 and 1991. Then we made all three finals of the Open British, which is Blackpool, which is considered the Open World Championships. Why is that bigger than the World Championships? At the World Championships, the first two couples of each country get to participate. At Blackpool, there is no limit. So there might be 600 couples participating at Blackpool, the number one competition in our industry, versus 75 couples from 35 different countries, because two couples get the opportunity. So just to give you perspective, sometimes the third and fourth couple of one country is better than the first and second couple from another country. So anyway, to not miss any finals in the first year of us going internationally, we in 91 made the final in Blackpool, the United Kingdom Championships, which was televised by the BBC in England, and the Royal Albert Hall was the international, which was in October at the famous Royal Albert Hall in London. Oh my gosh, these buildings alone, to dance there, what a unique experience that is. So to make the finals in all of them, including, might I add proudly, Julie and I didn't do just Latin, meaning the cha-cha, samba, rumba, paso doble, and jive. We also did tendance. And in that year, 1990, 1991, we also made the final at the European and World Championships, tendance, 2 separate championships. And we actually got third in 1991. And that was for us to have the bronze medal for tendance at a World Championships. Oh my gosh. So you can imagine, I mean, it was like drugs, the results, how it make you feel. It is just awesome. But then what happened was we were popular. And I'm not saying that, this is the history talking. So we were asked to go everywhere. China, Hong Kong, at the time it was still British, before 1997, Japan, all the European countries. We saw St. Petersburg before it became Leningrad and then turned back, 1990, European Championships. We saw so much culture, history. It was amazing, and all 5-star hotels, flying here, flying there, and because we were different, our choreography was different. We were more about the audience and how the relationship building. For us, that was the most important, that relationship with the audience, the emotional self-expressing, instead of just being a good athlete. So all of that was really taking away from my adolescent private life. Every time we would get home before changing our bags or yet another competition, my friends were all going out. They were going to movies and restaurants and clubbing, and here I was skipping it all. We were just so focused. Practice, practice, practice. National champion. We are now for 2 years national champion, and we're trying to become European champion and world champion. And something happened within me that I started to feel empty. I started feeling pressured and pushed. But with that pressure came also responsibility. We are now the champions of our country. Everyone in our country looked to us to represent all the dancers and create results and better results, because no one in Holland had ever done that. So now we have us in that seat. And then on top, if I would express that I'm tired of traveling to 5-star hotels, to Asia, many different countries in Asia, to all over Europe, oh, I better shut up and just dance. So I did for a while. And then I saw the famous interview with Oprah Winfrey interviewing Michael Jackson. And by no means am I sharing right now that I am on the level that Michael Jackson was. Absolutely not. But what was so heart-wrenching for me, and an eye-opener, because I felt pressured by my country. It didn't matter by one person. It was just the pressure you put really onto yourself, that now I have to. I can't say no. I can't do this. If I don't do that, then I will lose. And if I don't make this person feel happy because he is a judge of that, oh gosh, the politics and all that. And I didn't want any of that. But we were starting to get into that world. Well, I watched that interview, and many of you probably remember that interview. But she has some real hardcore questions to Michael. And when he was explaining when Ben, that song Ben, came out and he became the famous Michael Jackson, that he could no longer walk on the street. He could no longer have a normal life. He could pretty much not be himself. He now was pretty much everyone's how do you call it? It's puppet, managers, parents, brothers and sisters. He is now the leader of the pack. If he liked it or not, he could not have a normal life. And that part, when I know that maybe at one point I can't be me anymore and I feel pressured and all that. Now the magnitude that he had to deal with compared to me, mine is minuscule, I get it. But everyone has their own story. What I got from that was that it doesn't matter what everyone else wants. I need to feel in charge of my life, whether I'm 17, 18, 19, or I'm 35, 40. I should be able to be in charge, but here we are, and I felt stuck in this place of I have to please, I have to show up, I have to do all these competitions, and if we don't, people are unhappy, or I'm ungrateful towards my parents with all the money that they invested in me, and da-da-da-da-da. It went all through my head, but I stuffed it away. Then there was a trip to Japan. We were in Japan for many days, and I came back from that trip thinking, I can't do this anymore. It's too much. I'm done. I can't. Oh, no, but I have a partner, Julie. It's her career too, and we're in the middle of it. We're national champion. We're now 4th and 5th in the world. We now have to just wait and work harder and become that champion. But then that little voice inside of me said, but you're not happy. You know what you don't want, but you have to figure out what you want. So I was struggling there in 1992. And we did competition still, and we had good results. We were now, by that time, 1992, we were starting to be 3rd. And I remember United Kingdom Championships, we were 3rd. Then that trip to Japan happened on the way back. We were at the dance studio, and my very first dance teacher, Marcella, we still practiced in her studio. She said, I can't teach you anything anymore. You have to go to Ruud Vermeij. He was the coach in Holland. So at that time, of course, Ruud was our coach, but Marcella was still my older sister, my first teacher, my confidant. So the confidant that she was for me, I shared with her my feeling, and she shared, Louis, if this is not what you want, then you can make the choice. Because if you are not happy, it is most important that you are. If you're not happy the rest of your life, you're not going to be happy at all, because you'll always be bitter. Well, I stuffed it away. 2 days later, we were in a lesson getting ready for the European Championships, but was that weekend after, and Ruud saw something, I don't know, still to today. I might get him on one of these podcasts, and I'm going to talk about this. What was in his mind? What was it? Why did he ask me, Louis, come with me? And we walked to the other side of the dance studio, and he asked me what's going on. And it was like I felt so naked at that moment. And he asked me, what is wrong? And I couldn't hold it in anymore. And I shared with him not only the frustration, but I had made a decision. In that moment, I had made the decision. This is not for me. I can't do this anymore. I am unhappy. And here we are, third in the world in 10 dance, third and fourth in the world in Latin. We are one of the most popular couples because of our choreography, our intention and our mission. And here I am, quitting, destroying someone's career, because ballroom dancing is done together. In that moment, I also destroyed Julie's career. Well, I think he was shocked but didn't show it, because he is very good at controlling his emotions. He said, okay, let's go to my house, which was 5 minutes from the studio. We talked about this, and he realized, I am serious and I'm not backing down. I'm making this decision. And I was made aware that this might be disastrous for my future. And of course, I felt extremely bad for Julie. We shed tears of feeling bad, but also that was the moment that I needed to make that decision for me. In the first 17, 18 years of my life, I have not done that. And in that moment, I find that little bit of strength to make that decision for me. But do you feel small when you make a decision that is against all odds, making many people unhappy for whatever the reasons are? I left that conversation with a partnership that was now ended, feeling very lonely, guilty, responsible, destroying someone's career. Ugh. But somehow that little voice did not go away, stating, you're doing this for you. You're doing this for you. Well, then of course, my parents had no idea either. Then I felt the pressure there. You are ungrateful. All the money that we put into your career. And made me even more feeling this small and more guilty and more insecure. Did I make the wrong decision? Oh, did I feel small, lonely and guilty. But that little voice did not go away. You're doing this for you. Move forward, one step at a time. And I did. And now I knew what I didn't want, but now I made the decision to quit. Now what? And I've always wanted to go. I always regret it that between the age of 10 and 14, 15, I also did ballet, jazz, tap, the whole 9 yards, except for hip hop. In the 80s, I did all other forms of dance. And somehow I regretted giving it up for my ballroom dance career. And by the way, that training was partly the reason why we were so different from any other couple, because Julie and I were both flexible. We could both do splits. We were both spinners. We could both pirouette 3, 4 pirouettes, no problem. no one else ballroom dancing could do that. In ballroom dancing, they couldn't do it. So it made us unique in a sense. So I felt I needed to go back to that. So my friend Rumjana Dehan and her father, when they heard that I quit, of course, did you make the right choice? Da da da. But they wanted to help me get me into the high school for the performing arts, which is pretty much college in the United States. But you need to have a school degree. Well, I quit school at 15 to start an international career. So I didn't have the degree. Well, long story short, I did audition with the director of the college, and I was now waiting for that phone call. Well, as much as my parents made me feel really guilty after all the money they pumped in, side note, they chose to do it. They chose to live their dreams through me. I never asked for that money, they offered. And that was that little voice in me that said, yeah, you can try and make me feel guilty, and you guys did, but you also did it voluntarily. I did not ask for it. So, am I appreciative for it? Oh, absolutely. But if you're going to guilt trip me in, now I can talk about this as an adult much better than I could then. But anyway, by that time, a few weeks later, I did that audition in Amsterdam, and by that time my mom saw me somehow happier, and ultimately she came around and she said, ultimately, I want to see you happy. This is, gosh, I was 18, 19 years old, and it's still raw. Anyway, we were at the beach, and I got a call. Of course, we were at the beach, and I got the call there, and I was accepted at the academy. So here I was, going to the academy. Once the school year started, September, every morning. I loved it. I did it for a few months. I loved it. I was doing what I wanted to do, educate myself. I just felt the growth between 1989 and 1992, the success became so, it was like rockets, so fast. And as appreciative as I was, I couldn't grow with it. I didn't have enough time to adjust to the success. It might come as a big surprise, guys, when I say this. I am so appreciative for it. But I almost wished it went a little slower, so I could adjust to the success and build confidence with it. But anyway, I started building confidence. And then there was a competition in November. And I went to that ballroom competition. It's the Dutch Open, and it's a big one. It's the biggest competition we have in Holland. That is an international comp. And I was there watching, and Ruud, that was when I saw Ruud again for the first time after Julie and I broke up. So I thought I was nervous. And I still remember I might have had to prep you that all these podcasts get emotional because I'm going deep. I'm going back and share everything with you. I remember him saying, that decision you made 6 months ago, I didn't understand it then because of your success. But that was the best decision you have ever made in your life. To hear your coach say that, you have no idea how validating that feels, how powerful that is. That when you make a decision where you are so insecure, feel guilty, lonely, the world is against you, the dance world that is, they say your career is over, you made that choice and your career in our dance business is over. It makes you feel this small. So for my coach to say that to me, that made me feel good. Then, oh my gosh, I have to get these out of the way. Then, oh my gosh, you can be such an asshole and the sweetest guy at the same time. So, you had 6 months. It was the best decision, but now it's time to get back. And like a father figure, he was for me way beyond just a coach. I don't know what he saw. Again, he saw something, and probably now in hindsight, for me to be at that competition, he probably very intuitively knew that somehow maybe I missed it. Otherwise, why would I show up at that comp? So I was open, and it somehow made me think, okay, I guess I am ready. So I'm going to shorten the next part a little bit. There was another partner other than Julie, who was actually dancing at that competition with another partner. So she luckily found a partner. What I didn't know is that that partnership did not go well, but at least she was competing and dancing and making money because she turned professional for a while. So I danced with Katja Klep from Slovenia, and she was all about the art of dance. And I believed at that time, going to the academy, that it was all about the art. I didn't care about the competing part. I just wanted to dance. So she and I danced. We danced at Blackpool, remember, the Open British, where many more couples than the World Championships can perform. And we did. And even though I was in that final twice, in 1991 and 1992, well, in 1993, May of 1993, I was not in the final. I was 7th. Well, I had to eat my own words. I talked with Ruud and I said, I fooled myself. I am about competition, and it is about the sport and about winning. Yes, I'm all about the dance, but I realized that I was not happy not making that final. So, and this is why I respect, many of you have never heard of Katja Klep from Slovenia, but we danced for a few months. It was her that said, you and Julie are the partnership. Coming from the person I was dancing with, and she knew, she could tell that I wasn't in that partnership. So she actually was the one that said, you need to dance together. And then Ruud realized, who was coaching Julie with her pro partner, that partnership was not doing well. So here's the fun little story. A few weeks after that, Ruud brought both Julie and I into the studio. He made me go on my knee and beg for forgiveness and ask Julie to dance with me, not to marry, to dance with me again. And so I did, because I ultimately kind of ruined Julie's dance career, because ours was fantastic at that time. And she said yes. So in October, end of October 1993, Julie and I reunite. And oh my gosh, now remember I said earlier, the dance industry had pretty much turned their back to me and said, you made the worst mistake, your career is over. My parents gave me a hard time for a while. They turned around. Ruud, of course, turned around. And Julie, of course, I will always respect and love her. I'm back. I ran out of battery, and now I continue the podcast from my home. Different outfit, different haircut. Anyway, so end of October, Julie and I got back together, and to be able to do the national championships, you have to qualify. So we had 6 weeks. There was one more qualifier left, early December of 1993. And just to give you a little perspective, we are now dancing locally in our own country, and the second place couple in 1990, 1991, and 1992 weren't even close to us on an international level. Just to give you perspective, so we're going into that competition, we lost all 5 dances. And okay, but in this case, the difference is I was ready to fight. I was ready to take on, because I am now happy with me. I'm confident with me, even though a year and a half prior, I was not so happy. I was lonely, feeling guilty for a decision that I made for my own mental and physical health. Anyway, so now we go into February National Championships. The other couple win 3 dances. We win 2 dances. People still didn't forgive me. That's okay. Following month, we're going to Germany for the first time back into international scene, and we beat the Dutch couple who was late in the final, and we were second, and the German couple was first. Remember that for later in the year, that German couple was first, we were second. Now we're going into May, and this is Blackpool again, and we made the final. We were third, so we felt, you know what, it's under our ruling, it's my way, not the political way or what we have to do. I now want to do it. We're third. First was the Australian couple, second the German couple, and third it was us. Then we go into October, early October, the European Championships. And we get second. The German couple is first. Now we have the International at the Royal Albert Hall, 1993, mid-October, and we are third. The Australian couple first, the German couple second, and we get third. Then Germany, end of October, the World Championships, Latin. So since we got back in the year we got back to third place, so we went into that World Championships. Let's hope we can make it to third place, and then we've proven to everyone that it ain't over until it's over. We do it under our circumstances. It's because I want to, not because I have to. Anyway, we're going into the World Championships, and we do make the final, yes. And long story short, and I'm going to keep this short because I'm going to do a whole podcast about just the end of 1993 into 1994. I'm skipping so many details. But the point is that we got together. I asked Julie to dance with me again and went on my knees. And she said yes, and I'll always be grateful for that moment because ultimately we had an amazing career. And the message here is that even though I felt so small making a decision that I knew would upset a lot of people, but I had to do it because I knew what I didn't want and I need to figure out what I wanted. Well, I wanted to be a ballroom competitive dancer and I wanted to win, but I do it on my terms, not on anyone else's terms. Might sound arrogant, narcissistic. It's not. It's self-preservation. It is choosing your own mental and physical and emotional health over that of other opinions, of people that think I need to do X, Y, or Z. No. And those people are also not your friends. They're also not your mentors or the right people in your life. I had the right people in my life that were hurt by my decision in 1992, but ultimately came back around and told me, and I told you this before, that was the best decision I have ever made because he saw how happy I was. So, 1994 turned out to be a very good year for Julia and I. And here is the message. If you feel in your gut something's not right, follow your gut feeling because it might not be clear to everyone else, but over time, they will see that because you followed your gut, life is better, healthier, and people can see it through your pores that you're a much happier human being. And when you're much happier, you can conquer the world and nothing should stop you. Nothing stopped me. And still, nothing is stopping me from what I'm doing right now. Anyway, if you make a decision that might hurt some people or piss off people, if you feel in your gut feeling you need to do it, I'm here to say, do it. You'll end up on your feet and the people will respect you in the long run. Thank you.